It's time for Smart Money Moves. Homeownership is the foundation of wealth creation for many people. Today, we'll discuss everything you need to know about buying and refinancing your home. That's coming up right now on Smart Money Moves. Hi, I'm Marcia Griffin, and I am happy to welcome you to Smart Money Moves, Building Wealth for Everyday People. The benefits of homeownership are many: building generational wealth, creating stability for families, more living space, a sense of achievement, and saving on taxes. Once you are in a home, money can be saved through refinancing. What steps do you need to take to buy or refinance your home? Here to answer many questions are Tony Knuckles, Vice President of Business Development at Rocket Mortgage, and Tino Diaz, Managing Director at America's Homeowner Alliance. Let me begin with you, Tony, and thank you so much, both you, Tony, and Tino. This is an exciting subject. I'm going to start with you, Tony. So look, tell us what 2 or 3 things should a home buyer do first when thinking about buying a home?
Well, again, thanks for having me here, Marcia. But the 2 things that I think potential home buyers should look at is, number one, determine what you can afford. It's great to have big dreams. However, we need to make sure that we can afford those dreams. And then secondly, we need to save for the down payment on the home. There's a lot of different options out there, and it's important to do your homework and do your due diligence to ensure that you're prepared when you are ready to make that offer on the home of your dreams.
Absolutely. Now, when you talk about being able to afford the home, how does one determine that?
Well, that's a great question, Marcia. There's many ways you can use the tools on the internet to put in your income and look at a review based off of your assets, and we'll determine. Typically, it's about a third of what you gross is what you can afford for your total house payment, and we break that down with your principal and interest, taxes and insurance. And if you don't put 20% down, there could be some mortgage insurance included in that as well.
Well, look, one thing that we want to clarify, Tony, and we're going to switch on over here to you, Tino, is that everyone does not have to have 20% when they're buying their home, because that's a misconception right now, and it kind of scares people. We'll talk about that moving forward. Tino, once a person finds a home, what are some big mistakes that are made before closing that could actually stop the closing process?
Well, they run out and buy a car.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
one of
right.
the craziest things you could do. Or on top of that, they went out and pick the drapes and the furniture and all the wonderful stuff they're going to have in the home, and they buy it.
Yes.
So what happens is your expenses go up, which may damage the amount of money that you have at disposable to pay for those things and the mortgage. And you might not be able to close at all because you exceeded the amount of money that was necessary to pay for everything. The ratio may be too high. In other words, the percent of amount of your cash that's going to pay for this is way too much. So don't go out and go buy a bunch of stuff for the new house. Wait until you close, and then we'll see what you can afford.
Absolutely. Another question for you, Tino. Can everybody get down payment and closing cost assistance?
Not everyone, but
Okay.
what you need to do is go to folks that are wise about these things, a good HUD counseling agency, right? And they can tell you if you qualify, if you fall within certain income levels or areas, your demographics that you're in. All those things affect the kind of down payment you can get. There is also, there are state programs, there are county programs. There's all kinds of different programs that are out there. There's so many of them that you need to go to the folks who know. That's why I would advise you to go to a good counseling agency that can take care of you.
Absolutely. And one's loan officer too should have some sense of whether they can and where they can get down payment money. Would they not also be aware?
Yes, they can. There are special programs that are afforded to certain institutions that they can participate in, and they are able to afford, certain down payment. And also institutions in and of themselves. There are some large banking institutions that have some down payment assistance that they individually offer as well. So yes, good point. Not just your banking
Absolutely.
agencies, but your bankers.
Absolutely. And what I love about the two of you, not only are you well entrenched and knowledgeable about the work here, but you have many other people that you guys are training. And so I just thank you so much for that. Tony, I want to get back to you. What causes a lot of people to get denied on their mortgage applications? And what should we do?
Well, what we need to do is be proactive, and it's the
Yeah,
fact that we're not prepared, Marcia. Too often times we're not taking care of our credit, meaning meeting our minimum payments on our monthly obligations, whether that be a car note, a credit card, um,
yeah,
and that can damage and hinder our credit scores. And so that is sometimes why people are getting denied. Their credit score doesn't show us a history of the ability to make timely payments. Also,
yeah,
people are denied in some cases due to the fact that they are going above and beyond what they can truly afford. And then that's when you have to go back to the drawing table to figure out where you should look. And then oftentimes we see folks that are looking at properties that are in certain condition that are mortgage eligible. And then because of that, an appraisal will come in and say that the home isn't warrantable in terms of being able to get a mortgage applied to it. So we've got to go back to the drawing board again and figure out another property to potentially buy.
absolutely. And Tony, so when a person is denied, do you find that people will continue and get everything corrected, or are they just sort of busted and disgusted and don't want to deal with it anymore? What are you finding?
Well, I think initially what we found is people that do get denied, it's really not a surprise to them. Um,
Yeah.
because it's based off of their patterns and their habits and their history. So what we like to do is we like to give people a game plan. So if you get
Hmm.
denied, find out exactly and specifically what you were denied for. Was it credit? Was it your income wasn't sufficient? Was it the property? Once you can hone in on what exactly and specifically that is, then you can eliminate that issue or concern with a plan over time. But I'll tell you, we've seen many people get that fixed and open up the door to homeownership, which is really exciting. But it's important to be prepared, do your homework, and let's get over that denial.
Absolutely. Tino,
Yes.
in your opinion, do credit repair companies really help? I know a lot of people use credit repair companies, but what do you think?
Look, it not everyone is made from the same material, and so there are some really good ones, and there are some that are basically going to take your money and not necessarily improve your situation. The thing that people need to realize about credit, okay, the one of the basic decision that a banker is making to lend credit is, do you have the character to pay me back? It's easy to make a loan. The tough part is collecting on it. And so
Hmm.
to collect, they need to know that you have the character that you are willing to pay back. That's why they look at your credit. How have you used credit in the past? What has been your payment history? That is really, really critical. And as has been mentioned by Tony as well as yourself, timely payments are the most significant indicator that you will repay your loan. And that also raises your credit score.
Yeah.
You just pay on time and make sure that you are, consistent in what you do in terms of using multiple lines, three, four lines of credit. You're going to find that your credit score is going to be quite good.
Absolutely. But in terms of credit scores and credit reports and all, Tony, let me ask you this. Why are so many people of color in particular, really afraid to look at their credit reports?
Well, Marcia, I don't have the silver bullet answer to that. However, based on my experience, what it has been is if you bury your head in the sand, then it's better not to know. And what I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I think that is the opposite approach of what people of color, what we need to take. It's responsibility for ourselves. Listen,
Hmm.
past performance is typically indicative of future results. So if you're making timely payments, the likelihood that you'll continue that is very good. And if you don't, you just have to recognize that, change your behaviors so that when you do apply and you want to become a homeowner, realize that a lot of that is going to be based off of your past track record. So for us, people of color, we just need to take ownership of our future. We can control our destiny, and it's based off of our actions, our habits, and our patterns that we create, known as that credit report, which is highly investigated and looked at when determining your credit worthiness for a mortgage.
Absolutely. So before we get into refinancing, one thing that I just want to clear up: when you guys say that you need to pay consistently on your credit cards, your bills, etc., does that mean you have to pay the whole thing? Is it okay to pay a minimum? Is it okay to just pay something? Tino, what do you think?
Well, first of all, paying regularly is most important. Number
Yeah.
two, if you just pay the minimum, you're going to maintain the balance that's kind of large, and that may affect the points that you're going to be given. You may lower them. You want to be reducing your debt systematically. So just making the minimum is not enough. You may want to pay a bit more than that as you consistently begin to reduce what is outstanding. That is going to help you the most.
Absolutely, absolutely. So look, let's talk to homeowners right now, and I'll start with you, Tony. And I'd love for both of you to sort of weigh in on the whole refinance picture here. Tony, many black and brown people do not refinance. At least that's what the news and the media says. Why is that the case, and why should people refinance?
Marcia, I think it's education. We've come a long way. If you think back in our history, there were neighborhoods we weren't even able to live in 50, 60 years ago, right?
That's
And
right.
so what happens is this: these old stories of the past make things seem more difficult than they really are. And I will tell you why we don't do it is because we just don't have that awareness. We don't have the education at the fundamental level. And so it's something that's really not on our radar. So what I'd like to share with everyone is that refinancing is not difficult. If you're a homeowner, literally, you're already in the home, you're making timely payments, and you'd want to consider refinancing that accomplishes some goals for you. Maybe you want to
Yes,
lower the overall monthly payment. Maybe you want to save money towards paying off some bills, right? You can consolidate that because your home has gone up in value. Or quite frankly, maybe you want to put yourself in a position where you accelerate debt reduction, kind of what Tito was talking about, and literally pay off the home sooner. You can go from a 30-year to a 20-year or a 15-year. There's a multitude of options out there, but it starts with education, understanding it's not that complicated, and it can put you in a much better financial position.
Yeah,
absolutely.
people are
Tino.
people are fearful.
Hmm.
When it comes to money, the folk people of color for some reason are fearful of
Yeah.
looking at the picture. There are a
Hmm.
lot of really good sources out there that can help you think through this stuff, but the fear of looking at it is even difficult. They're thinking, oh my goodness, I was in a great position before I was able to buy my home. I don't know what position I'm in now. You There are folks who've gotten a loan and have yet to look again at their credit score. There's lots of
That's right.
good services out there that are free and give you a pretty good estimate of what your score is at that moment. And the fact that you're making your payments, the fact that you already have a mortgage, that already puts you in a great spot. Particularly if
That's
you're
right.
doing the timely payment, you're in a great spot to go to the servicer and say, "Look, I'm thinking of refinancing this. I might be able, like Tony said, I want to curtail the amount of time that's left on my mortgage. My value has gone up. I'm doing better in my income. I want to pay this off in less years than what I've got right now. Or I need some money to educate the kids and I need X amount." You need to go talk to those folks. Don't be fearful. Asking questions is not going to affect you at all. On the contrary, it's going to enlighten you in what the possibilities are for you.
Absolutely. Tony, let me get back to you. These are great comments. A homeowner, I was just reading just the other day about a homeowner who wants a cash out refi. What is that?
That's a great point. A cash out refinance is when, Marcia, you've purchased a home. Maybe you've been in
Hmm.
it years, 3 years, 4 years. And if you've been up on the news, home values have gone up, 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 up. So let's say you bought this home and it was $200,000. Maybe 5 years later or 7 years later, it's worth $300,000. The
Yeah.
difference between the value and what is owed now, remember you've paid it down a little bit over those 5 years or so, is called equity. And so what that person is considering is tapping into that equity, literally receiving cash at closing because they're going to leverage that investment known as their home to do something else. So a cash out transaction can be very beneficial to homeowners. We like to say that people are managing their mortgage versus their mortgage managing you. And the cash out transaction allows you to get that lump sum of cash and do what you need to do, whether it's pay off bills, do home improvements, maybe it's help with college financing, or maybe even diversify your portfolio and buy properties in the future. Whatever it is that you'd like to use with it, that is your money. You have earned it because you've been disciplined, you've been diligent, you've been making your mortgage payments on time. And oh, by the way, home values have gone up. So it's an opportunity to really exercise that right as a homeowner.
And do all lenders provide cash out refinances?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
but it would be fairly common to find a lender that does, right? It's would be more the exception, those that don't do that. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
You can always ask,
Okay.
approach the lender.
Good. Well, the main thing is you're in your home. We want people to keep their home, pay that mortgage, and let's just, keep this kind of home ownership and wealth in all of our communities across the board. There is nothing better to give to your kids or family, etc., than a home that's escalating in value. So now that I have you, Tino, let me ask you this question. And this is, we hear a lot about housing supply. If a person wants to buy a house, and you think about this too, Tony, if a person wants to buy a house, but we know housing supply is very low, which means that the prices are up, should they wait? Should they get prepared? Should they buy with other family members? What would you recommend?
Well, you're going to buy your home for the rest of your life. And if you're going to be there for the rest of your life, this is the time to buy, because this is when it's available. And if you have the income to be able to buy a home and you have your down payment, why not get into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're considering in terms of investments, that's something else. But this is your home. You're going to live in this place. So it's always a great time to find a place for your family that you feel that they're going to be safe, that it's a good neighborhood, good set of
Yeah.
schools for them to go to, that it's a great place where there's lots of goods and services that you'd like to avail yourself of. Man, there's nothing better than having a roof that you call that's yours, and feet on the ground that says, I can do with this property as I will, and I can make it beautiful, and I can have my pets, have my children. It's my place. I'm not told by anyone else what to do. And at the end of the day, once I've paid it off, I'm able to hand it off to my family, or I'm able to have a better life as a retiree. I can borrow against that and have a better retirement. So by all means, do it.
Absolutely. And look, don't even mention about having more room, more space, serenity, peace by yourself. These are all things that come with certainly having more space. Tony, for you, is home ownership or buying a home the right thing for everyone?
I think it's an individual decision, but there's a reason why this program is called Smart Money Moves.
Yeah,
Smart money is to become a homeowner, right?
that's right.
The thing is, it's a leveraged investment for you, because over time, historically speaking, homes don't go down in value. They typically appreciate. So it's oftentimes, especially Marcia, I notice in our communities that we're quick to buy things that depreciate in value. Well, a home,
Yeah.
in most cases, if it's in the right location, with what Tito talked about, the right schools, the right amenities, the right features, over time, typically, those properties go up.
Yeah.
Labor doesn't go down. Materials don't go down. And we've seen that with inflation recently. So it is a good, sound investment. And I think it was Albert Einstein that said that not everything can be measured, not everything that is measured can be counted. And so you have those ancillary benefits about security, about community, neighborhoods, making a difference. Those things matter. And I think what we've seen is those who have chosen to step forth and open up the door to the American dream are better for it on the long-term view.
Whether a person is buying for themselves or they're trying to get their kids out of the house so that the kids can buy, home ownership is certainly a step in the right direction. It is a good use of one's money, and being not only financially but mentally prepared for home ownership is really important. Let me start with you, Tino, on this question.
Okay.
Many folks don't want a big house. They don't want to have to take care of grass or anything else. So condos might be a great opportunity for some people. What are the pros and cons of buying a condo? And does every lender offer financing for condos?
There's a lot of availability for condo financing, right? But you got to remember that in a condo, what
Mhm.
you're doing is you're buying a space, you're buying a niche within a structure. And so you're sharing common areas with other folks, like hallways, like elevators, sometimes even the part of the heating system, the plumbing system. All those things are part of a larger structure. It's not just an independent single family unit.
Yeah.
So it has its issues. There's going to be an association that has rules by how you can use the property, what is allowed to be on it or off of it, whether pets are allowed or not allowed. So there are some, in order to be able to live together in peace and to enjoy the property for everyone, then there are some rules that everyone needs to follow. And those are the issues that come up with a condo association and owning a condominium. Now, there are condominiums that are rather smaller buildings that you might have maybe 10 units or so. Down here in the Florida market, for example, we have 300, 500 unit condos. Those are
Hmm.
enormous. It's just as comfortable for people to live in those as it is in their own home. It just depends on their situation. If you don't like doing grass, if you don't, without going out there and digging up the holes and whatever, the condo may be a perfect place for you. But if you do enjoy that patch of grass and being able to go out there and dig a little place and put a flower in the ground for yourself, then that's not the place
Hmm.
for you. There's lots of considerations, but again, it's the common use of property and the ability to live with one another within
Yeah.
rules that determines whether a condominium is something for you. And you want to look at what those places are like. You want to meet people who live there and ask them what's the quality of life for them. What's it like to enjoy the place? There are amenities that at times are tied to condos. They might have swimming pools, gyms, all kinds of other things that are tied to them. There's even
Yeah.
places that have golf courses, for goodness sake. And so if you want to have a golf course in your backyard and have access to it, there may be a condo that's right there for you.
You two professionals have been great. We've run out of time, but I want to end just asking you very quickly, what smart money moves, Tony, would you like our viewers to remember?
Well, I would like everyone to remember this. It's important to prepare whenever you're looking at considering home ownership. As Tino talked about, if you're considering a condo, what does the association fee actually include? If you're a first time home buyer, let's make sure that you have your down payment ready and you have some reserves for that, what we call rainy day fund, just in case something goes wrong in the home. And then most
Good.
importantly, I want people to realize this, that one of the biggest ways to build wealth in this country, the smart money move, is all about real estate and buying in the right location, so you can experience that appreciation, build equity, and create generational wealth for those you love and care about, i.e., your family. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was great. Tino, we're going to end with you. Talk to us for a minute, if you would, about what smart money moves would you want our viewers to remember?
I love what Tony said. And I'd like to add to that look, if you're starting out, a condominium may be just the place for you. It's a low cost way of getting into home ownership, and that's your stepping stone to the next place. You may not have to sell that condo and then move up to your home. you might be able to keep it and rent it. And now you've got rental income on top of being able to buy your home. So, but remember, your home is supposed to be a place where you feel safe and where you're at ease. So never put yourself in a situation that you're in distress when you're going to buy a home. Don't overdo it. Be comfortable. Make it easy for yourself. Live in peace in the place that you buy, and you're going to find that you prosper as a result of that. God bless all
Oh,
of you.
you guys have been great. Really, I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate the discussion. A special thank you to our audience for joining us. And for more information about Smart Money Moves, go to WHUT.org. See you next time on Smart Money Moves. And remember, together we can and will make a difference.
This program was produced by WHUT and made possible by contributions from viewers like you. For more information on this program or any other program, please visit our website at WHUT.org. Thank you.